Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're unfolding an interesting and often misunderstood topic: the connection between Samsung, one of the world's largest tech companies, and the military. You might know Samsung for its smartphones, smart TVs, or those sleek tablets, but did you know that the company has had some involvement in defense technology? We're going to break it all down and explore just how big Samsung is, what kind of military connections they might have, and what this means for you and me. Let's get started. Now, when you think of Samsung, what comes to mind? For most people, it's probably their latest smartphone, or maybe the TV they have in their living room. But Samsung is so much more than just a tech company that makes gadgets for everyday use. In fact, Samsung is a massive conglomerate with its hands in almost every pie. From semiconductors and electronics to construction, insurance, and even biopharmaceuticals, Samsung has a presence in industries you wouldn't normally associate with a tech company. But one area that not a lot of people talk about is Samsung's involvement, in some form, with the military. So, how exactly is Samsung connected to the military? Well, it's not as straightforward as you might think. Let's start with a little history. Samsung was founded in 1938 by Lee Byung-chul as a trading company, and over the years, it expanded into various industries. Today, Samsung Electronics, the company's flagship division, is one of the largest tech companies in the world, but it didn't start out that way. As the company grew, it made moves into other sectors, including defense, and developed military-related technologies through its subsidiaries. One of the key players in the story is Samsung Techwin, division that was part of Samsung until 2014. Now, this is where things get interesting, because Samsung Techwin was primarily focused on producing defense and aerospace technologies. So, what kind of things did Samsung Techwin work on? Well, they were involved in manufacturing surveillance systems, security cameras, and even military-grade equipment like armored vehicles, radar systems, and weapons technology. They also developed systems for border security and military surveillance, which, let's face it, are pretty high-tech and very specialized. But here's the thing, Samsung Techwin wasn't just working on civilian technology, they were also heavily involved in building products for military use. In fact, many of their technologies were considered dual-use, meaning they could be used both by the military and for civilian applications. Imagine that the same cameras and surveillance systems that you might see on a construction site or at a shopping mall might also be used to monitor borders or military facilities. Pretty wild, right? However, in 2014, Samsung made the decision to sell off Samsung Techwin to Hanwha Group, another large South Korean conglomerate with a much stronger focus on the defense industry. Now, Samsung no longer directly produces military equipment, but that doesn't mean their connection to the defense sector has completely disappeared. You see, although Samsung doesn't make tanks or fighter jets, their core business of electronics and semiconductors still plays a major role in military technology. Some of the components that Samsung manufactures, such as microchips, displays, and memory storage devices, are used in all sorts of military applications. For example, advanced military drones, satellite systems, and communication devices often rely on high-performance electronics, and Samsung's products can be found inside these systems. And it's not just Samsung semiconductors that are used in military applications. The company is also a key player in the display industry, and their OLED and LED displays are used in a variety of defense-related technology. Whether it's a military cockpit display or a satellite system, Samsung's display technology is used to create the high-definition screens that allow soldiers and pilots to monitor critical data. It's amazing how the technology we use in our everyday lives, like the screens on our phones and laptops, is also being used in cutting-edge military applications. So, how big is Samsung in the global defense landscape? Well, they're not as big as some of the major defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, or BAE Systems, but they still play an important role in the supply chain. South Korea, where Samsung is based, has a strong defense industry, and like many large conglomerates in the country, Samsung has had some involvement with government defense contracts. But Samsung is not directly responsible for producing weapons or military aircraft. Instead, they provide components and technologies that are integral to modern military systems. Now, let's talk about Samsung's potential role in South Korea's defense strategy. South Korea is one of the most technologically advanced nations in the world, and their defense capabilities are no exception. With tensions on the Korean peninsula remaining high, South Korea has invested heavily in military technology. Samsung, as one of the country's most influential companies, has inevitably played a part in this. However, Samsung's role is primarily in providing tech support and components for the country's military, rather than being directly involved in weapon production. But this raises an interesting question. Does Samsung have any ethical concerns about being involved in military technology? After all, some people argue that companies that produce dual-use technologies products that can be used for both civilian and military purposes have a responsibility to consider the consequences of how their products are used. Samsung, of course, is a business, and businesses need to make money, but at the same time, there are ethical questions about the potential uses of their technologies in warfare or surveillance. There's also the question of international relations. South Korea, as a close ally of the United States and other Western countries, is involved in global military alliances, and companies like Samsung could face scrutiny if their products are used in conflicts around the world. While Samsung has largely stayed away from the direct production of weapons and military technology, they have not completely distanced themselves from the defense sector, which can sometimes lead to difficult questions about their role in global security issues. So, to sum it all up, Samsung is a giant in the tech world, but they also have some ties to the military. While they don't make weapons or fighter jets, they do produce critical technologies that are used in military systems from microchips to surveillance cameras. Their former subsidiary, Samsung Techwin, played a major role in defense technology, but after selling it off, their involvement is now more focused on providing components and technologies to defense contractors. But as a major global player in technology, Samsung's products are often used in military applications, and their role in the defense sector, while not as direct as some other companies, is still significant. So there you have it. The connection between Samsung and the military is more complex than most people realize. Whether you agree with it or not, there's no denying that the technologies we use in our everyday lives can sometimes be used in ways that go far beyond the consumer market. But at the end of the day, Samsung's primary focus remains on creating products for consumers like us: phones, TVs, and all the gadgets we can't live without. Thanks for watching this closer look into Samsung's role in the defense sector. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you want to share your thoughts. Do you think tech companies like Samsung should be involved in military technology, or should they stick to what they know best? We'd love to hear your opinions. Until next time, stay tech savvy and take care.